Hello everyone, this is Nicole from Altenew. Thank you so much for joining me. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can layer the images from the Build a Flower Hyacinth stem set. This stem set offers 2 flower clusters, including the stems. So the larger flower has 4 layers of flower clusters and 2 stem layering images. The smaller clusters have 3 layers for the flower part and 2 parts of the stems for the layerings. So we're going to go ahead and refer to the layering guide when stamping it, and I'll show you up close how you can layer these images together. Let's start with the largest flower clusters. I'm going to stamp the solid image using the Wisteria ink pad first and stamp it onto my white cardstock. To layer the second image, I'm going to focus on the top left and bottom right portion of the clusters and line these images up. This one is stamped in Hydrangea ink pad, which is the second shade of the Enchanted Garden color family. For the third one, I stamp it with Ultraviolet, also lining it up using the top left portion of the cluster and bottom right, and you can line this up pretty easily. Now I'm going to actually do the stem differently. So I'm doing the second layer of the stem image for this. I'm going to focus on those 2 white spaces in between of those clusters. I ink the image up with olive ink, which is a darker shade. This is actually a second layer for stem, but this is easier for me to see where the stem portion will go in between those clusters. And then I can go back to the image using the first layer to stamp the bottom portion of the stem. So I'm inking up the actual solid stem image and the leaves that goes in the bottom portion of the cluster in bamboo ink. And that is almost completing the first cluster. Let's move on to the second one. I'm going to start with the stem and the leaves first. And this is the first solid image layer. I'm inking it up with bamboo ink. This is a lighter color green, and then stamp it onto my white cardstock. And after that, we're going to focus on the 2 layering images, the second layering images for the leaves and the stem. It's actually coming in 2 parts. So you're going to ink up the bottom portion with olive first and then stamp that. And after that, you're going to ink up the top portion of the stem, which is a very tiny lines of the stem and the branchy part. And you're going to ink that up with olive and stamp it again. Now the flower comes next. We're going to start with a solid image in Wisteria ink. You're going to focus on the top left portion and the bottom right portion again and match these with the tip of the stem image that we just stamped. And we're going to do Hydrangea for the second layer and Ultraviolet for the third layer. So while the smallest cluster have the 3 layering, the largest has 4, including the center portion. So I'm going to look the center portion where it has white dots in between those flower petals and ink up the center portion with Coral Bliss and stamp it onto the flower. And that is how you layer all the images up for the Build a Flower Hyacinth stem set. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@altenew.com and we'd be happy to answer any questions. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.